Hey, wellness members. This is Dr. Cheryl. I just recorded the Wellness Table podcast, and this is your bonus section to give you the insights, give you the information. And we talked all about today, and I hope that you all were able to listen to this full podcast on uh, protein. How much protein do we need to um, build and maintain muscle mass? And I think one of the other key points was, can we build muscle mass and maintain muscle mass while we're aging? And is it adequate protein? How much do we need each meal? I get so many questions about that. How do I know if I'm getting enough protein when I'm on a plant based diet? So I hope that you all tuned in to what we talked about. But for the members, what I'd really like your take home message, and this will be a short message for this week, but I do want you to know and be assured that if you follow the plate meal planning tool that I've provided, you have at least one plant based protein at every single meal. We're talking about, again, depending upon if you're trying to build muscle, if you have cancer, if you are recovering from something, you may need a higher percentage of protein. So, this plate, meal planning plate, the small plate, and the smoothie meal are for healthy individuals that are at their ideal body weight or may want to build muscle and lose some body fat. So, when we're talking about how much protein, you may need to have 3 servings of protein at a meal. And what I really highlighted in this podcast on the Wellness Table is that if you have, um, let's say, you're having beans and you're having nuts, those are plant based proteins at a meal. You're having soy at a meal. Those are the plant based proteins that I'd like you to include at least one at every single meal. If you have Greek yogurt or if you're looking at animal protein, my concern with the animal protein is what happens at the gut, what's happening with the cancer. I see the positive of the amino acid structure and muscle mass. I'm determined that we can be on a plant based diet if we're informed and meet all of our protein needs without supplementing. Maybe we do need to supplement some plant based protein if we don't feel good or we're not eating enough or we can't get all of the whole plant foods in. So I would say to members, since you're in the membership and we're talking about how you do it, I'm giving you more of that information. And I would encourage you, versus on the wellness podcast, when they're not my patient, I'm not talking to them. They don't have the meal planning tools. They don't have the resources that you have. I'm encouraging them to add a plant-based protein at every single meal. And then whatever other protein that they normally eat. I think that's the safest place for them, eating more fruits and vegetables. That's my recommendation, what I call for public health. But for members, I want you to know that I favor plant-based protein, absolutely favor it. And I believe that we can get 20 to 30 grams of protein at each meal. But I think going over 20 grams of protein at a meal is tougher. And so it could be that we add a protein powder. It could be that we do some of these different things. I tend to just add more of the nuts, but your calories can get too high. So again, as we're looking at what our body weight is and getting enough protein, that's our mix. And that's what I want to be here to support you with. So I do have in the Take 10 program, I had people many times with 3 plant proteins at a meal. I would try to get up to 30 grams of protein for people that were exercising a lot. They were training for an event. I definitely would encourage, as you're looking at what's a serving of protein, a half a cup of beans or a quarter cup, let's just say, of nuts. That's a simple measure for you. And so if you're having 3 of those at a meal, you can put them in a blender, but just think about how you can add that to every one of your meals. So regardless of whatever you're eating, if it's a salad, throw in the beans, throw in the nuts, have a variety of plant-based protein with every single meal. And even if you're having 3 servings or 4 servings at a meal and you're building muscle and you're still at your ideal body weight, you've got it. That's your magic. So I think that's what's really, really important. And then I would go to supplementing with protein powders. Like I like the whole soybean powders that I find. I'm not so much into the isolated soy protein, and I like non-genetically modified soy protein. There are pea proteins out there. There's rice proteins, and those can be used and add them to the smoothie. If you find that you're having trouble, you can put them in your muffins. You can bake with these protein powders. You can do all kinds of things with these protein powders to boost the protein level and stay on a plant-based diet with all of the health benefits of a plant-based diet. But just remember, even potatoes have protein, so you just eat more of them. So on plant-based, the biggest problem is I just can't get it all in the stomach. You're too full. And so it's a good problem, but I want to make sure that all of the members are getting enough protein, getting a variety of protein. And I do favor plant based protein all the way. And I personally use some dairy in my personal diet, especially when I'm eating out, because I find it very challenging. And so you don't get a lot of nuts when you're eating out. I eat a lot more nuts when I'm home. So when I'm out, I will definitely favor something that might have an animal protein in it. Like I said, I don't eat meat, but I would do, say, eggs or dairy so that I can increase the protein at a meal. So I definitely will do that when I'm out and sometimes at home. So I would say that I'm probably 80% whole plant-based protein myself and probably 20% of the lacto-ovo eggs and dairy. And that's how I feel best. I also have a lot of allergies to a lot of things. I'm allergic to peanuts and I'm allergic to wheat. So you're going to see for me, I get a little bit limited to get enough protein because of the allergies that have hit me since I hit 50. So all of these things are individual. And that's what I want the membership to be about is how can we apply it? Ask the questions. I'm here on our private member podcast to answer your questions that are very individual and personal. We can do live events and live sessions as well if members would like to do that. But I'm here for you every step of the way to customize this for you based on your activity, your illnesses, the how can we get enough of the healthiest food in our body and be as healthy as we can be, because we know it's more than just about protein as well. But muscle mass is a big deal. And I think that when we move over to a vegan or a plant-based diet, sometimes that can be forgotten. And we begin to see people saying there's a lot of unhealthy vegans, a lot of unhealthy people eating plant-based. And I would agree. They're losing muscle mass or they're doing it to lose weight. And those aren't the reasons to be. Yeah, we want to be at an ideal body weight, but it's not to be a part of a restricted diet. And we can be plant-based and still miss the mark if our body composition isn't where it needs to be. Lowering our percentage of body fat and increasing our muscle mass. So we're anabolically sensitive and we have insulin sensitivity. That's our goal. And that we're turning on our body's natural health defense and as healthy as we can be today. So that's our goal. I hope you enjoyed the Wellness Table podcast. Please subscribe to that. I'll be sending you emails each week for the Wellness Table podcast so you hear it. And then you will have your bonus podcast, Ask Dr. Cheryl. That is our members only podcast. And I'm here to answer your questions and add more of the bonus detail to our topic for this week. So I hope this is a great week for you all. And again, this is Dr. Cheryl. I'm here for you every step of the way. Welcome to Wellness. And I'm glad you're here, members.